Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you with a little bit of a Pokemon sales data video. There's really not much to go through, and also got a message, real quick, and then also a guy that was messaged me on an old video, messaged me on Instagram, and kind of had a video request. So I'll combine those. I'll do that. So we had a pre-release Clefable, PSA 7, and it was at like 800 or best offer. The seller offered at 700. I countered with 600, and they countered with like 675, and I was like 666, and then he accepted. I was like, "Hey, the devil worked! Praise Satan and be merry unto thee!" And anyway, so we go and I get to the checkout page, and it's total like 725. But I have e-bucks expiring, so I put the e-bucks in there, and it totaled out to 702.35. I don't know if that's a record price point for that card. I think it is. I do like to continuously buy cards at the record prices because people say, no, you're crazy. And then that's too much for the card. And then it goes up by like exponentially in the next coming months. So speaking of record prices, we have a Hitmonlee first edition PSA 9. Top 5 bids are 200, 215. And the 200 and 215, they had the very, very good feedback, a lot of amounts with them, so those were real. Then the next 3 bids were the 301, which had 0 feedback, the 351, which had 4 feedback, and 356, which had 1 feedback. So a little sketch, in my opinion. We'll see what the next one goes for. I would have said this would have been 200, 215, something like that, which happened, but either way, we'll see what the next one goes for. And the video, also, before I get into the recommended part of the video, there was a Blaine's Charizard first edition BGS 9.5, which I was bidding on again, and yet again the seller took it down. What is with that? Like, why can't we get any Blaine's Charizards PSA 9s or BGS 9.5 to make it to the end of the auction? I would love to buy one of those cards, but okay, that's I digress. So how did I get started? That was one of the questions that he had asked. And well, in my original Pokemon journey, I woke up on a random Saturday morning and happened to turn on WB11. Pokemon was on. I was hooked. It was actually the Bye Bye Butterfree episode. It was like the worst episode to ever get hooked on because it's so sad. But obviously through, the Pokemon was on all the time. It was such a hit. It was such a craze. It was like crack for kids. And, I watched all those episodes through, I don't know how many seasons. And then there was, that's how I just got started in general. And then my friend David had the video game, and I was like, oh my god, this is great. So I got the blue video game, Pokemon Blue, and then I got Red at some point, and I've gotten all the games, like every single Pokemon game I've played and beaten. It's amazing. But as far as the actual cards, yeah, I love the cards. I'd get a $5 a week allowance, and that's how much it cost for a pack of Pokemon cards back in the day. So I'd go to this place called Tri-County, the mezzanine level, go up a couple flights of stairs, I would pay, and I would just see which ones I got. And I remember one time, I saw my friend Nick there, and my mom was like all like condescending, like, oh, how many cards do you already have in that pack that you just opened? And he's like, well, most of them. And she's like, yeah, see, like, she's one of those like really pessimistic people that just like thinks everything's a scam, and that's how they get you. And it's fun, but I'm sure most of you guys know that, like, similar when Pokemon Go came out, the first couple of Pokemon you get, you love. You love every single one of those cards that you get. I remember thinking Rattata was really cool because it was small, but it was really quick, and it was fast, and and just the artwork was cool. I was immersed with it, and I had a Charmeleon in that. I was like, he is so good. Slash, he looks cool. I forget the rare I got in that card. It wasn't a holo. It was probably like a last. It was a trainer or something, or an electrode, whatever. But yeah, I remember that, and I was just hooked. Like, that is so cool. I love that card, and trying to get one pack every week that's what I did. And I forget what happened to the original cards. I still have a couple of them, the original ones, but just not gonna grade because they're all, very, very, very played. But as far as the cards getting back into it, I was actually deployed, and my friend Joe, shout out to you, Joe, said that, and he's been my friend since we were in like 6th grade, something like that. Played t-ball together, and he said that like, hey, we have these really cool cards. And I was like, I was such a newbie at the time. Like, I still loved Pokemon, but I hadn't really touched the TCG in a while outside of the actual video game, the TCG you could download on your phone. Just download John GBA Lite or GBC Lite, and then you go download the ROM, Pokemon trading card game, and you could play it on there. It's really cool. And outside of that, I hadn't really played, and so I was like base set, jungle and fossil. I was like such a new, and this was in like 2016, so really recently. He's like, hey, I know this guy Rob. He can get the originals, and he said, you probably 10s are expensive, so like 8s and 9s are good. Get graded by PSA, and so I'm learning everything I could. And I get back from the desert, and we go to like his old college. We play frisbee. It was really fun. It was really cool. He's got a bunch of cool friends, and then we go to see his friend Rob in New Jersey, and he's this like monster of a dude. He's really jacked, and he used to own a card store, and I buy a bunch of things from him, and I just get sucked into it. I just go on, and everything I see, like, hey, is this Pidgeot? Is this worth it? And he's just like, bruh, just go on the sales side of eBay, and the other recommendation for this was advice for newbies. So if you're looking at a card and you think you might be paying too much, take whatever card that is, whatever name that pops up in there, go to eBay and you search it, and on the right hand side you could view the completed and sold items. So click the sold items and you see which ones they sold for recently. So if you have a card that's listed for like $500, but the last couple sales are like $200, $230, you're thinking like, okay, maybe this is a bit too much for it. Maybe I'm going to overpay for it if I pay for this. However, if that's the only one out there right now, there's a decent chance that, like, I sold my Lapras the other day for $375. I didn't get paid on it until another Lapras sold for like $510. So I put mine up for $550 or best offer. Get an offer for $500. I accept. Person cancels. Just bringing the point is that you can have a previous sale of $375, and the next card that's available is $550 or best offer. And it's like, okay, it's $100-something, $175 more. But that's the lowest one on eBay at this time. And that's what I usually like to do. As a seller, I usually like to make it either the lowest one on eBay or the only one on eBay. So if I don't have the only one, I like to make it be lower. But advice for newbies, yeah, that'd be it. Check the sales history of it. If there is none, join E4. And E4 is a fantastic organization where people can post about, it's like kind of similar to Reddit, but for Pokemon, there's like a subcategory for everything. Price and market discussion. There's stuff for like just random general. There's stuff for want to buy. There's a buy thread, so you say want to buy, like WTB, and then it's like a Alakazam, first edition, PSA, whatever, different languages, because obviously cards are not just made in English. Japanese first, then English, and then I think probably German is the most popular after that. Then maybe Spanish or Italian. Chinese ones are cool too. But that's how I started. That's some of the advice. But you have to, what I think, because I was all over the place. It was like everything I thought looked cool. I was like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And it was kind of scattered. And I didn't really focus on one thing. And eventually I focused on just the Gym Challenge series because I loved those cards when I was younger. I had a Giovanni's Nidoking when I was younger too. The artwork was just so cool. It was badass. The whole art was just different because it would not pass Professor Oak's. If anyone's played Pokemon Snap, he's like, the card's not in the center of the frame. Like, he's not going to say that because the artwork is different. Like Giovanni, you see half the face, but it's intense. Erica's Venusaur it's off-centered and it's different. And that's what I loved about it. So that's what I just put, and it's not just those cards. I've explained why I love Gym Challenge so much in other videos, just because it's the actual trainers cards. It's really cool, and I wanted I was like, okay, let me just get all of Blaine's cards. Blaine's first edition PSA 10, and it was much cheaper to do it in 2018 because I could get a Blaine's Charizard first edition PSA 10 for like my average cost still for that card is still under $600. It's 10 times that now. Now, so if you want, look for a particular set, and again, you might not. This is just one thing that you could do. And the one set, you don't have to buy PSA 10 graded. Nothing wrong with 9s or 8s. And you could even do a binder set. Get raw cards for, it'd be much, much cheaper. And they are very pretty to look at. They are, because that's what we did in the day, put them in binders, and they're just so cool. But I've seen other people do it, like where they just love Charmander, and they want to get every variant of Charmander, Dark Charmander, Rocket Charmander, and Blaine's Charmander, and the Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge, all the way through. And there's nothing wrong with that. Collect what you like, and you'll have fun. Peace out. See you later.
Later, bro.
And that's really the name of the game. I mean, some people do, the flipping, and that's fine. Flipping is something that I guess everyone technically flips if you do sell at some point, even if you hold for 50 years. But yeah, a lot of these cards, like I'm trying to pay for a Trophy Kangaskhan right now. I am not. I have these Blaine's Charizards that I do not want to sell. I took them off eBay. I don't want to sell. If I have to, I will, but I really don't. Anyway, guys, that is my advice for some of the newbies. Check out a bunch of YouTube videos on people like me or SM Pratt. He does a lot of them. If you're looking specifically for investing, which card is most popular? Pikachu and Charizard. There's a whole mess of Pikachus out there. Charizards are something that's always wanted. Like, I'm getting a Trophy Kangaskhan and not a first edition PSA 10 Charizard. I want the Trophy Kangaskhan because that's something I couldn't get when I was younger. That was impossible. Like, anyone that had money, they could just buy a Charizard. You can get it at Tri-County. You can get it at a flea market. Someone's always... But a Trophy Kangaskhan is so incredibly rare. Even a PSA 4, mine sold for $25,000 in August. And I know that guy's not letting it go, even for 30. And that's one of the lowest graded. There's a couple that are just authenticated and they look like poop. And there's a couple that aren't authenticated. There's a couple raw copies out there, but the way you get the Trophy Kangaskhan is you had to have been there in 98 or 99, I think it was 1999, at a parent-child tournament. And that's so special because very few people's parents were into Pokemon. They barely, they knew what a Pikachu was, maybe, but they didn't know anything about it. Like, it was so completely foreign to them. So the fact that a parent and child could compete together is like, God, I wish I had that. Like, that would have been so cool. And that's something that I would love to do, if I have kids one day. Like, yes, let's battle together. Let's do it. And you can only get that card if you and a parent had competed and won a certain amount of battles in that tournament in Japan. And so there's less than like 45 graded copies out there. There's definitely less than 100 copies out there everywhere. And I want that, not because it's so coveted and wanted, although it is, but almost everyone that knows anything about Pokemon knows who Charizard is. They might even know who Kangaskhan is. But if you mention them what a Trophy Kangaskhan is, like, they might think, like, is that like Kangaskhan holding a trophy? Like what is it? And even if you're in the Pokemon community, like, trophy cards are, you don't know exactly what they are when you first get into the hobby. You kind of have to be in for a little while, like, oh, okay, and then you do some research. And but if you want to, like, make money and invest with it, SM Pratt says the older, the rarer, the minter, the better. So if it's old and it's rare and it's mint, it's very good. However, something I would like to add to that is want. How much is it wanted? There's a bunch of cards that I have that have like 12 PSA 10 copies on it, 20 PSA 10 copies, but they're not thousands or tens of thousands of dollars because they're not well known, and they're not wanted as much as some other things. Like anything with base set or Charizard, or WotC in general, any first edition holo will increase in value. I've bet a third of my net capital on that. And that is something that if you do continuously, slow but steady, that will make you money. If you want to complete a set, do the most expensive card first. Because let's say if a card, I'll just use Gym Challenge because I know that one very well and intimately. Blaine's Charizard, let's say like, okay, $6,000 for that card. I do not have that right now. Let me get these, and these. Then by the time you have $6,000, that card is $8,000. And you're just like, what the actual F? So my best advice would be to try to get the most expensive one first. Even that might not be the rarest. Like Blaine's Charizard is probably the most expensive at $6,000, but if there's like 300 PSA 10 copies, almost every other card in there is is rarer than that, just because people try to grade them so many times. I don't know how many of them are actual 10s. Some might be like soft 10s, but Misty's Golduck only has 51 PSA 10 copies. Same with Giovanni's Persian. Very, very low pops. They're not as much just because they're not as coveted as a Charizard, although I think they should be. Anyway, guys, the video's getting a little long, going about 16 minutes, so I love you guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Any of my Pokemon veterans out there, if you have someone that asks you a message, yes, I have a Patreon. Yes, I have. The idea behind it was, okay, I'm trying to work 2 businesses right now and trying to launch a third, and this is that would help me with time. But if you have someone that's just curious about the hobby, the best thing to do is answer them, to give the best advice you can, because that's something that it might turn them off if you just say like, lots of knowledge. Here's my Patreon. If you want anything, go ask me there. That might turn them off. Like, okay, like I just asked a question. I don't think that really deserves me to pay $5 for that. And to their credit, it might not be. They don't know that I'm working 80 plus hours a week doing what I do. But anyway, guys, that is it for me. I love you all. Try to be good to each other, and I'll talk to y'all later.